Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I figured we'd do another full face chit chat tutorial. These end up being really long, so I'm warning you ahead of time. Well, actually you guys can already tell because you will see the timestamp at the bottom of this video, but I hope it's interesting, and I think most of the time you guys enjoy my chattiness. So yeah, I figured in today's video we'd do a little bit of honeymoon chit chat. I just got back from my honeymoon, so I figured I could tell you guys about it. And this lighting is like super light. There we go. Yeah, tell you guys about my honeymoon, to chat about some new products. I have a ton of new products. I got back from my honeymoon and I had like a ton of PR packages, which is so exciting. So I'm thinking about filming a PR haul right after this. So in that haul, I can like tell you guys a little bit about the products. I also have my dogs in here with me today. They are chewing on bones, and Lily does this weird thing where she like walks around for like 10 minutes before she'll settle down and start chewing. So she's like bumping into the camera, and anyways, so yeah, if you hear like weird snorting, grunting, chewing noises, that is the weenie dogs. Lily baby, why don't you sit down, honey, huh? I know, you want to be right next to mom. Okay, so to start out, I'm gonna prime my face using the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. I picked this up during the last Sephora sale. I think it was either the spring sale or like their surprise sale. I think it was their surprise sale that they did for us a couple months ago. I haven't really honestly used it too much just because I've been really focused on using up other primers. But I will say the few times I have used this, I have really enjoyed it. It is very fragrant though. It has like a lemony scent to it. For eye primer, I'm going to use the Amazing Cosmetics Illuminate Eye Primer. I did get this in PR, and by the way, this tutorial is going to have a mixture of like PR products and products I purchased on my own. I'll let you know as we go throughout the tutorial which ones are which, but this one I got in PR a long time ago, and I just recently started to kind of use it. I will say with my eye primers, I know what I like, I use what I like, and I very rarely use anything other than what I like. But I did kind of pull this one out to play with because I don't want it to go bad and I want to give it a fair shot. It does have like a tinted undertone to it. It's called Uplifting Nude is the color. So it is nice because it kind of like cancels out some of the veins and like the discoloration in my eyelids. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. You know what I mean? So for face makeup, I have pretty much all new products to test out. So the first one, well, I guess the foundation is going to be the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra. I feel like I never say this correctly. This is actually my holy grail foundation. I've used it for years. I love it. I've talked to you guys about it over and over again. They did send this to me in PR to test out, and I was looking at the bottle and it's definitely different from any of the bottles I've ever purchased. Like this is new, so I'm wondering if maybe they reformulated it. I honestly don't know. It is in my color. It's in the color 210 Buff Neutral, but I want to test this out to see like, okay, does new bottle mean new formula? I sure hope not, because it was definitely one of my favorites. And then for concealer, I have the brand new Becca Ultimate Coverage Longwear Concealer. This again was sent to me by Becca to test out. They sent me the color Cream, so I'm excited to test these two out. I know this is supposed to be like a matte finish, I believe. I think water resistant, full coverage. It actually doesn't say if it's matte, so we'll figure it out. It has vitamin E in it, antioxidants, honey. Interesting. Hope it's not sticky. So there's that, and then to set all of that, I have the... Okay, for some reason my camera keeps shutting off randomly, and I don't know why. I hope it's not breaking, so I don't know. This might be like a choppy video because of that. What I was saying, or I think I was cut off, is to set the foundation and the concealer, I'm going to be using the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder in the Glow formula. So I've always had this, always loved it in the non-glow formula. But now they have a glow formula, and it's supposed to be very similar to the Hourglass Loose Setting Powder. Okay, Lily picked a spot right next to me and she's grunting, so yeah, I'm trying to like talk over it, but anyways, it's so funny because I found Blue Mercury. I didn't realize that was like a shop, but they have one here in Charlotte, and I discovered it recently. And I went in there. If you're unfamiliar, it's like a makeup shop, kind of like Sephora or Ulta. And the girl had the Hourglass translucent powder in a water bottle, like mixed with water. And then she had the regular Laura Mercier powder in a water bottle mixed with water. And she like shook them both up, and she was showing me that the Hourglass one has like a glowy, just like almost like iridescent, really pretty finish to it. Whereas the original Laura Mercier is like chalky and cloudy looking. And I don't know if that was just like a sewing technique, and I told her, I was like, look, I have both of those already. And then shortly after that, I got this in the mail from Laura Mercier. It had nothing to do with that visit, but I was really intrigued because I have a feeling that this is going to be very similar to the Hourglass one. So yeah, Laura Mercier sent me this. They also sent me their new brush to go along with it. So it's their Glow Powder brush. And this is interesting to me. I love brushes. I like am obsessed with brushes. I don't know why, but I don't know, I love brushes. So this brush is actually really cool because it has this little, I don't know, like indent in it, and it's supposed to be like perfect for just like kind of brushing it on your cheeks. I don't know, the fact that it's glowy kind of scares me. Like I think I'm gonna test it just to set my under eyes first, and then we'll see. Just because too glowy sometimes is like, gosh dang it, my camera keeps shutting off and I'm so worried that something's gonna happen to it. Please last me at least through the end of the day. Please, I have lots of videos to film. Okay, so I'm gonna start putting all of this on my face and just get to talking to you guys about my honeymoon, since that's what I told you I was gonna talk to you about today. So yeah, we just got back from our honeymoon. We actually went to the Bahamas, which was beautiful, you guys. Like, I thought Punta Cana was pretty. So if you guys are unfamiliar, or if this is my first video that you're watching, we actually got married in Punta Cana. So we did a destination wedding. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, why would you do a honeymoon if you had such an elaborate wedding? And the truth is, although we did a destination wedding, it wasn't like relaxing or like honeymoon-esque at all, because our family was there and we were so busy and constantly doing things. And like, I didn't come back from that relaxed or refreshed or anything like that. I came back like, you know, I was happy, but it wasn't a honeymoon, you know what I mean? So we still wanted to do a honeymoon, and we originally, or I guess I originally really wanted to do Bora Bora, because come on, who doesn't want to go to Bora Bora? But it's just like really expensive. So we settled on the Bahamas for a couple of different reasons. For one, it's actually fairly close to North Carolina. There's direct flights from North Carolina. So that's pretty cool. So easy for us. It was only like an hour-and-a-half flight. And then for two, there's no Zika. It's Zika free, which is, I think, like a newer thing. But you know, family planning or whatever, you don't want to really expose yourself to Zika. We don't want to expose ourselves to Zika anytime soon. And it was also like relatively inexpensive. It was, you know, anyways, so yeah, we picked the Bahamas and it was gorgeous, you guys. It was so pretty. So Punta Cana is also in the Caribbean, and the water is beautiful and the sand is beautiful, but the Bahamas was like nothing I've ever seen before, like postcard-esque, like it looks like a movie, just so stunningly beautiful. And I thought, it's almost like unreal how clear the water is, and how like you look out into the sunset and you see, oh, my nose is itchy, just like turquoise, beautiful turquoise waters, and the sands are like white, soft sand, and it's just breathtakingly beautiful there. Like, I highly recommend, if you've never been to the Bahamas, like, make it a point to try to go to the Bahamas. So we stayed on Nassau, which I believe is the capital. I want to say, I honestly don't know, but I think it is. Okay, by the way, this foundation seems to have the same formula as before. I put 3 pumps on the back of my hand, and that was way too much. I probably could have done 2, maybe 1. So just a heads up for you guys. But yeah, anyway, so we stayed on Nassau, and we stayed at a Sandals resort. So I think most people are kind of familiar with Sandals. They are a all-inclusive, like 5-star. I think they're mostly in the Caribbean. I think maybe there's some like in Mexico. I'm not really too sure. I'm not a travel agent. But Yeah, it's all inclusive, adults only. Sandals also does have beaches, which is for kids. And but yeah, anyway, so we stayed at a Sandals resort on Nassau, and it was really, really nice. The resort was really nice. The people were really nice. Very uncomfortable beds though. Like, side note, so hard. Like, I wasn't expecting the bed to be so uncomfortable. But yeah, the food was delicious. I would say comparing it to Punta Cana, I think in Punta Cana they served, well, I guess first of all, in Punta Cana we stayed at an AM resort, which is also all-inclusive, but it's a 4-star resort versus a 5-star resort. So Sandals is supposed to be just a little bit, you know, better. So the amenities are supposed to be better, the food's supposed to be better, the service is supposed to be better, yada, yada, yada. The difference between a 4- and 5-star resort. So the beds in Punta Cana were like super comfortable, but the rooms were older and the amenities of the hotel weren't as upscale, and the food and beverages, I think especially like the alcoholic beverages, I'm not much of a drinker, but like in Punta Cana, they only had like 2 different kinds of wine, a red wine and a white wine. Like you didn't get to pick what kind. It was just like you either drank red or white. And then like the whiskey, like you had one kind of whiskey, and you know, so there just wasn't as many options. But in the Sandals resort, you had like multiple kinds of white wine you could drink and multiple kinds of red wine you could order, and different kinds of whiskey. And Matt was really excited because they had Jack Daniels and like, you know, so stuff like that. But I think overall the difference between a 4- and 5-star resort really isn't that, you know, different. They're both all-inclusive. They both have, you know, free room service and stuff like that. Unlimited drinks, unlimited food, included amenities like water sports and things like that. So a gym and a spa and all that stuff. So yeah, it wasn't really that, but just like the food was a little bit better. In Punta Cana, the food was, I think it was very like Dominican food. Like I think they tried to Americanize it, but overall it was still like very Dominican-esque. Like the bacon was not like bacon we had here, and the fruit was different kinds of fruit, just like fruit I had never tried before, like guavas and things like that. I have a pimple, by the way, like right there, and it is bothering me so much, and I can't like cover it up because it's just like a raised pimple. Anyways, but yeah, but at Sandals it was like, you know, more of what we were used to. There wasn't like Bahamian food or Bohemian food or anything like that. It was just, you know, our typical Americanized food, but it was good Americanized food. Like they had delicious, delicious lasagna. They had a restaurant called Casanova with delicious lasagna. We actually ended up going there twice because it was so good. They had really good pizza, and they had like ice cream machine, and the ice cream was like really good, like better than any ice cream I've ever tried anywhere. Just really good food overall, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna try this powder really quickly here. I'm a little bit nervous. I don't want it to be like glittery. Oh, that is dark. Oh, wait a minute. Well, I already started it, so I better finish what I'm doing. There's definitely like a color to the powder. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's almost like a dark, I don't know. I need to put it on both sides to even it out. It's almost like a dark gold. I mean, it seems to blend out. Okay, it's definitely glowy though. I'm gonna put it on my cheeks because I feel like that would be good for my cheeks. I'm gonna use this brush just because I want to use it. There is definitely a tint to it, so if you are super duper fair, like any more fair than me, just kind of be careful with this powder because it is going to adjust to the color of your foundation. I hope it doesn't cause it to like oxidize or anything like that. It is really pretty though. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see. Oh, there you go. You can see the glow now. See it? It's not bad, but I don't know that I want it all over my face. I love this brush. This would make a really awesome like highlighting brush. Just fits right there in like the contours of your cheeks perfectly. But yeah, definitely like a glowy, see that? Almost like a highlighter. So I'm not gonna put that all over my face, but I do think I really like it. I'm gonna have to play with it a little bit more to determine like, you know, do I love this powder? But I think I like it. The concealer was really sticky as well. It did blend out very well. It is super duper full coverage. I'm gonna have to make sure it doesn't like crease or anything like that. But so far so good on that. I think I wanna put something different under my eyes just to kind of, I don't know, I like my under eyes to be brighter, not darker, and that Laura Mercier powder definitely made it darker. So I'm going to use this, this I purchased during the Sephora sale. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Face, Sculpt, and Highlight palette. So yeah, Sephora started carrying Charlotte Tilbury, which is awesome. I haven't checked out the store yet to see if it's in stores, but I sure as heck hope it is, because I love Charlotte Tilbury. This packaging is odd. Look at it. It had like two little things on the side, and anyways, I've heard really good things about this palette. It has a highlight side and a sculpting side. The highlight side has glitter in it too. Okay, I'm not gonna set my under eyes with that. I thought I would, but I just want like a, you know what? Maybe I'll just use this Cover FX. This is not new. I used this in many, many videos before, but I think I'm probably just gonna use this to maybe just set my whole face. So, yeah. Okay, moving on to eyebrows. I'm gonna use this brand new, well, it's not brand new, it came out a couple months ago, but it's by Benefit. It's their Brow Contour Pro. I've wanted to try this since it came out because it's so intriguing. And then I saw reviews from people and I was like, because it was like, it had mixed reviews, like good and bad. And so I was like, do I really want to try it? And then the Sephora sale rolled around and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it because I love Benefit brow products and this is really cool. So if you haven't heard of it before, it's basically very nostalgic of like our childhood, well, 90s kids' childhoods, where it's like one of those clicky pens where you can like click different colors out. But this one has two different colors of a brow product and then two different colors of like there's a definer and a highlighter. So the definer is to like sculpt out if you like, you know, mess up your brows or color out of the lines or whatever. And then the highlighter is to kind of highlight under your brow bone. I don't typically highlight under my brow bone, but maybe it's because I don't have a product like this to do it with. So I think that it's going to be really cool. I love that it has two different shades of brow product. So this one is in the color Blonde Light, by the way. They offer like various shades, but not a ton of mixtures either. So keep that in mind. But for the blonde one, they have like a taupey color and then more of like a warm. So I guess the idea is the darker color you put towards the tail and the lighter color you put towards the center. So I don't know. We're gonna test it out. The only thing is it does not come with a spoolie, but it's kind of like where would they put this spoolie if it did come with one. So I'm just gonna grab my brow wiz really quick and brush out my brows. This is definitely like a very intriguing, interesting product to me. I have to pull my mirror up really closely. So, okay, I think you have to click it. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so you have to click the color down and then twist it, and then the product kind of pops out. So I'm gonna stop there because I've heard that you can't roll it back up. So starting with the lighter color, I'm just gonna kind of outline my brows a little bit. As you guys can see, I have pretty much no eyebrows. I do, the brow hairs are just really, really light and they're very, very sparse also. So coloring in my brows is definitely an essential part of my makeup routine. Okay, so there's the front part of my brow with the lighter color. I love the tone. It seems to be a nice neutral, not too cool, not too warm. So far, so good. Okay, okay, so to switch colors, you push down the other color. So I'm gonna go to the darker one. I will say the product itself is really creamy, so I feel like I'm using a lot of it. I feel like it's gonna run out pretty fast. I mean, I guess I don't know how much product is in here, but I do feel like I'm gonna run out really fast. But see how easily it glides on? It's really, really creamy. Okay, so here's what it looks like with the tail colored in. I will say the variance in tone I think is really obvious. Like the darker one is definitely more warm and the lighter one is definitely more neutral, kind of borderline cool. And so I had to kind of blend them together so there wasn't like an obvious color difference, you know what I mean? So, and not a bad thing, but just like, I wish they would make the tones the same, or maybe that's why they did it. They did a cool tone and a warm tone so you can decide. I don't really know, but I do want to brush through this really quick with my spoolie. I think overall I did get a really good brow out of it, and it was surprisingly very quick, very easy, and I don't know, I mean, I enjoyed the process. I did like it. I do kind of want to, this is my problem area on my brow, right here. And then for the definer, I guess you could definitely use it to like carve out your brows. And then the highlighter one you would use to like highlight underneath. The only thing is I feel like this would be kind of hard to blend. Okay, for eyeshadow today I'm going to use two different palettes. So neither one of them is brand new to me, but this one is newer. I've just been using it a lot lately, so it's not like new. But anyways, it's the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. This is so good, you guys. Like, I highly recommend this palette. I think it's perfect for this time of year. Grab it if you can. And then I'm also going to incorporate some of the Lorac Mega Pro 3 palettes. I've actually really been loving this. I kind of rediscovered this when I was decluttering my eyeshadow palettes, and yeah, I've been loving it, especially like these neutral colors over here. I feel like some of the tones in this palette don't exist in this palette, so it's nice to kind of balance the two out. However, I do think you can get, I just dug my nail into it, nice. I do think you can get a complete, really pretty look with either on their own, but I'm going to use them both today. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you more about my honeymoon. So anyways, yes, we went to the Bahamas. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm using pink cream, by the way, all over my lids. And we met some really nice people there. So we made friends with a couple different couples. It was mostly couples there, by the way, like lots of honeymoons, lots of baby moons, lots of baby moons. And I think that's because it's one of the only like Caribbean islands that's Zika free. But we met some really nice people there. One of the couples we hung out with a couple of times was Wills and Steph from Scotland. So if you're watching, hello. But yeah, they were from Scotland, which was really cool. Just, you know, to talk about the differences in our cultures. And I'm mixing toffee and tan together, by the way, for my crease. But to just talk about the differences in our cultures, and like, Wills had never had s'mores before, so they were like, what are s'mores and what's a graham cracker, and like things like that. And for us, you know, they were talking about certain kinds of gin we should try, and it's just really cool. It's really neat to meet people from other countries. I think it's just really, really neat. And some of the words they say, like Steph was saying that she had a hen party, which is our form of a bachelorette party. So just they call it like a hen do instead of a bachelorette party. And for the men, it's a stag party instead of a bachelor party. So just things like that. It was just really super cool to talk to them, and they raise horses out in Scotland, and so just really super cool. And then we met a couple who was from Tucson, Arizona, which was also kind of cool and a little bit ironic. Matt was wearing his ASU hat around, and so they're from Tucson, which is where U of A is. So if you're from Arizona, you know ASU, U of A have a huge rivalry. And so she was like, are you guys from Arizona? Is that an ASU hat? You know, just kind of playing around. But we actually met them on the excursion that we did. So I have to tell you guys about the excursion. We only did one. So when we were in Punta Cana, we did a few excursions. We did snorkeling, zip lining. We fed the monkeys at Monkeyland. We did kind of like a cultural tour of like their chocolate crops and pineapple and coconut. And then my sister went parasailing. We had a couple people who did like the dune buggies. And so like we pretty much did everything you could in Punta Cana. Sorry, I'm doing weird things with my mouth. It's because I'm going like this, trying to put eyeshadow on and talk at the same time. Anyways, we only did one excursion in the Bahamas, and I think part of that is because we already did so much in Punta Cana that it was kind of like, well, we just kind of wanted to relax on this honeymoon. Also, the excursion that we did was kind of pricey, but we did the swimming with the pigs excursion, which is so, so, so cool. I highly recommend that anybody who goes to the Bahamas checks it out. I'll tell you more about it in a minute. I think I'm going to use gingerbread latte, which is the color I dug my nail into, to just kind of deepen up my crease a little bit. But yeah, anyway, so the Bahamas, Exuma Islands in the Bahamas is the only place in the world that has wild pigs that swim. They're like swimming wild pigs, and so they live on this island. They call it Pig Island, but it's in the Exumas. And basically you can go and like swim with the pigs. And a lot of people have never heard of it before, but they actually showed it on The Bachelor a couple of seasons ago. And that's where I saw it. I had saw it on The Bachelor and I was like, oh my goodness, that is the coolest thing ever. I want to do that someday. Not really knowing that it was in the Bahamas, but just like, you know, saying like, okay, in the back of my mind, if there's ever opportunity to swim with pigs, do it. And then, there was a couple of people at work who had mentioned that they wanted to swim with pigs and that it was in the Bahamas. And I was like, oh my God, that's where we're going for a honeymoon. Like I have to swim with the pigs. And so then it was like, you know, in my mind that I had to swim with the pigs. So we were staying on Nassau and the pigs are in Exuma. So if you're familiar with the Bahamas, those are pretty far apart, like very far apart actually. And so I think one of the reasons why the excursion was so expensive is because we had to travel pretty far to get there. So we took, first of all, we took a bus to like a harbor where a boat picked us up. And it was like maybe like a 25-person boat. Not too big, not super duper small either, but not, you know, too big. So they picked us up and the boat had a bathroom on it, thank God. And like a cooler because they kept, you know, they had drinks and water and whatever on there. Not really food, they had snacks, but not like food. So it was just like a, you know, pretty small boat. Anyways, they picked us up and I'm gonna use spiked eggnog to put all over my lid. And then it was probably like total from Nassau to Pig Island was like 2.5 hours. So a pretty long boat ride, but we stopped a couple places on the way. So our first stop, then I'm gonna insert pictures for you guys so you can see, because this is just so cool, you have to see it. So the first place we stopped was, they called it Jurassic Park, but on our way to Jurassic Park, we rode through a whole bunch of the Exuma Islands. So we got to see like Johnny Depp has his own island. So like we drove by Johnny Depp's island and Louis Vuitton has his own island. And the guy who invented solar panels has his own island. So it was a really cool way to just like see the Bahamas and see the beauty of the waters and the, you know, the islands and all of that. So that's kind of where we started. It was by driving through all of that. And then we got to Jurassic Park, and basically it's this smaller island that is just filled with iguanas. And we got to get off the boat and feed the iguanas. The iguanas weren't very friendly, like you couldn't pick them up or like pet them or really even touch them. They just kind of like, we fed them grapes on skewers. And so they just kind of like grabbed the skewers and took off, or grabbed the grapes and took off. Some of them did grab the whole skewer and take off, but they weren't like, you know, friendly iguanas or anything like that. I think I'm going to stop there with the eyes because I want it to be kind of a simple look today. I don't think I'm going to put falsies on. So for liner, I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Eye Pencil. I actually have had this for a while. I just haven't really had a chance to use it. Looks like maybe I used it once. But anyways, so we stopped there for maybe 20 minutes, whatever. fed the iguanas, and then we got back on the boat and drove for another maybe like 45 minutes-ish to this other little island where they had nurse sharks. So these were wild sharks. They weren't like in an enclosure or anything like that. But I think the sharks just knew to go there because they feed them. And it's kind of just where the sharks hang out. So the waters were pretty low there. So you were able to get out and like walk in the ocean, and it would go up to like your waist area. I'm sure if you went farther out, the waters would get deeper, but they were pretty low there. And you were able to get out and swim with the sharks. So we did that. And a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, wasn't it scary? Like, weren't you scared? And I wasn't scared at all. I don't know why. I just wasn't like, I don't know. I just thought it was really cool. And also everybody was getting in the water, so it's kind of like, okay, well, you know, maybe if we were alone, it would be a little bit scary, but there was like, you know, a couple of different groups there and our whole boat was there, so it wasn't like a scary thing. And I think nurse sharks are supposed to be like the puppies of sharks is what people call them, because they're supposedly supposed to be pretty friendly. However, I did recently hear a story about a lady who was like bit by a nurse shark. It like jumped up and like bit a chunk out of her arm. Luckily nobody in our group got bit. It was just more of just like petting, and the sharks were really like an interesting texture. I thought they would be like scaly, but they weren't. They almost felt like, well, I've never touched an elephant before, but I imagine an elephant would feel the same way, just kind of like textured, not gritty, but kind of rough also. And then we got back on the boat and we went to Pig Island. So Pig Island, it was just another island that our boat, you know, drove up to. We stopped, and as soon as you pull up, like all the pigs basically come running because they know you're there and they know you're gonna feed them. And so all the pigs kind of come up to you, and they don't immediately hop in the water. Like, they're not just like swimming around in the water. They're hanging out on the island for the most part. But they kind of warned us ahead of time, and they're like, just to let you guys know, like, first of all, they know how to sit. Like, that's the one trick they know how to do, is they know how to sit. And so you can like hold a carrot above them and say sit, and they'll sit like a dog. And they also know hand signals. So if you go like this, that means like they'll stop. So like you feed them, they gave us carrots and bread. And if you went like this, that was basically telling the pigs like, I don't have any more food, don't attack me, like go away kind of. And if you splash water in their face, they'll also kind of like stop and go away. So those were kind of the things they told us. They also said, like, if you're holding bread, they love the bread. Bread is like their crack. Like, if you're holding bread, they want that bread. So like, just beware, they will bite you. And I was kind of like, no, they won't, whatever, you know. And so that was kind of like what they warned us with. They're like, they're kind of aggressive, but they're nice. And like, if they bite you, it's not gonna hurt. But like, just be aware, like they love the bread was what they kept telling us. And so anyways, we got off the boat onto the island, and the pigs just like immediately started flocking. Like, they knew you had bread and carrots, and some of the pigs were humongous. They were like the size of cows, I imagine. Like, well, I guess I have stood next to a cow. No, I have never been next to a cow. I've been next to a bull, but not a cow. Anyways, they were huge, you guys, like hundreds of pounds, like these huge like hogs. And I just wasn't expecting them to be so dang big. And they immediately started like grunting at you, like, you know, because they knew you had the bread and the carrots. And so they also mentioned to us, like, don't give the babies carrots because it's tough on their tummy. Only give the carrots to the big ones and save the bread for the babies. So anyway, so I gave my carrots to two of the bigger ones, and then I immediately wanted to like hold and pet the babies because, I don't know, I wanted to see the babies. So I kind of like went over to there's like an area where there was a couple little babies hanging out, and I was petting one and picked one up, and they were so cute. They didn't really like to be picked up. Like, I wouldn't say it was their favorite thing. They were kind of like squealing and kind of like, ah, like, don't pick me up. And while I was doing that, one of the bigger ones came up to me and bit my arm. I have a pig bite right here on my arm. It's kind of going away. There's like a little bit, it's kind of scabbing over. But he bit my arm because he wanted a piece of that dang bread. So I kind of got up and walked away from the babies. And I was like coaxing one of the big ones into the water because I wanted to see them swim. You know, they're supposed to be swimming pigs. So I kind of coaxed one of the larger ones into the water, gave him some bread. But yeah, it was really, really cool to just kind of play with the pigs, and that was definitely the highlight of that whole excursion. And one of the highlights of the trip was just being there with the pigs. It was so cute and so fun. And then at the end, the tour guide like showed us how one of the babies knows how to swim. So he kind of like picked up one of the babies and pulled him farther into the ocean, and the baby like swam back to the land. He was so cute. And then when he got to land, he like shook his head and like water went everywhere. And then I guess the bigger pigs, their big trick is they know how to jump. So I have a couple of video clips I'll insert for you guys, and actually in this clip you can see how ginormous the pig is. The big pigs are just huge, because in this one he was like trying to make the big pig jump, so he was like dangling bread over his head, and then like wanted him to stand up on his hind legs. So like the big pig stood up on his hind legs, and then he pulled the bread up farther, and then the pig like stood up tall and then like jumped, like ever so slightly like jumped. And that was his big trick. But you could definitely see in that video like how humongous those piggies are. They're just huge. Like he was the size of the guy, like a 6 foot tall, large man. And then we went to another island where we had lunch. So they had lunch for us. And it was a very Americanized lunch. I was kind of hoping it would be more like a local food lunch, but it was American, which is fine, you know. And then we got back on the boat and we drove to this place called the Sandbar, which is exactly what it sounds like. It is in the middle of the ocean, so it's not like on shore or anything like that. It's in the middle of the ocean. But it is a natural sandbar. So it's an area of the ocean where the sand has kind of accumulated high enough to where it's above the water, and you can just kind of like be in the middle of the ocean but also on the sand, so you're not like getting wet, but you can go into the water too. And it was so pretty, like so cool. Like I would like to do an excursion where you go to just that. Like I feel like I could hang out there all day because the water is just so like warm and beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna do my lashes really quickly. I think I'm just gonna try not to wear falsies today, but for lashes I'm gonna use the Hourglass Caution Mascara. This is newer to me. I have used it a few times. Well, more than a few times, probably 3 weeks I've been using it, and I have to say I love it, you guys. Like it definitely adds length to your lashes. It adds a little bit of volume, but mostly it's just like length, and it's not too clumpy. You know how some mascaras just like leave your lashes super duper clumpy? This one is not the case. It just adds like length, and it's not chunky, and it's not flaky, and it's like a true jet black. It's basically everything you'd ever want. And here's what the wand looks like. It kind of tapers ever so slightly. So we'll see. You'll see. I'm just gonna put one coat on and you'll be able to see the difference. Okay, so here's just one coat. You can see my lashes just look so much better. Here's without. Here's one coat. Okay, so now it's time to bronze up this pasty white face. Holy moly. I keep looking at myself in the viewfinder and like, anyways, I've been loving the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer. Like loving it, you guys. And this isn't really new. I mean, this is a newer package, but like this has been around forever. And I've always loved a milk chocolate Soleil. I've been going back and forth between the two. I just kind of rediscovered my love for this product. Like I feel like it's just such a pretty neutral undertone. It blends out super duper easily, and it adds just such a pretty warmth to the skin. I just have been loving it. Okay, so for highlight, I can either use the one that's in the Charlotte Tilbury palette, which has a little bit, actually that's really pretty. I was gonna say it has a little bit more gold, which it does, but it's not like gold. It's more of like a white gold, rosy gold maybe. So I have that one. And then this Ofra palette. So this was sent to me in PR. I used it in my Halloween tutorial video, but that was more, you know, Halloween makeup. So I kind of want to use it just with normal makeup to see how I like it. So this comes with a bunch of different colors. So it actually has their Beverly Hills highlighter, which is this big one that kind of looks like a pie with like slices of different colors. Star Island, Blissful, and Rodeo Drive. This is the one I've been using the most, or at least I used in that video, and it's the lightest one, but it has like a teensy bit of like a golden undertone. It reminds me a lot of Becca's Moonstone. Look at that. It is super intense. That's a lot. That's a lot of highlighter. It's really pretty, but I think maybe my bronzer is a little bit too dark for it. I almost forgot about blush. How could I forget about blush? It's my favorite. So this is the Clinique Get Cheeky little cheek pop holiday palette. I think I'm gonna go in with Black Honey, which is the middle color. That's a really pretty color. Love that. Okay, last step is lips. Now these were gifted to me by Clarins. I've gotten a few things from Clarins, but they sent me 3 of their lipsticks. So the first one is in the color Jolly Rouge 737. Ooh, that's pretty. And that actually kind of matches like the whole facade of what I'm going with right now. Oh, are these all 737? They are. Oh, wait a minute. So 737, then this one is 737V Velvet. Oh, okay, Spicy Cinnamon. They're all Spicy Cinnamon. So this one must just be like their normal whatever. And then this one is Velvet, and this one is Brilliant. S stands for Brilliant. Although there isn't an S in the word brilliant anywhere. Okay, so there's the S or the sheer or the brilliant one. There's the velvet version, which is matte, and then this has like a shine to it, but it's not, it's kind of like the in-between, like the cream finish. I think I like the cream finish the best. Is that this one? Yeah. Such a pretty color. I'm gonna use MAC's Brick to just kind of define my lips a little more. So yeah, here's the finished look. I'm kind of loving the no lashes look. I just feel like I look more like refreshed, maybe? Less done up. And let's get real, I do not wear falsies on a daily basis. So this is more of a natural, more me look as opposed to with falsies. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this chit-chatty tutorial, and I hope that you enjoyed hearing about my honeymoon. If you guys have ever swam with the pigs, let me know down below. Just let me know what your experiences was, whatever. Did you get bit? Did they love the bread? Let me know down below. And I think that's about it for today's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.